Had to go with the crystal spelling. They didn't like my spelling of Nazi. 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 All right, the poll's up. The poll's up. Let's see here. Welcome to the show. So the Trump coin is crashing like a bitch. Go get my neem oil, run to my farm, spray my tomatoes. I need to go. Use my spray can. Let's go get the. I got the spray can here. God damn it. God damn it. Fuck my meme oil. God damn it. All right. What's this new? We have these new ranks now. You see that? You got the new ranks. Crown number 1. What does this crown mean? What does crown mean? Let's change video quality. Oh, oh, really? Number 1. Crown. No. Oh, nice. Looks like 0102 added a new feature. I know, boring. Boring comment gets you blocked. Boring comment. We're gonna run. I got some neem oil. I'm gonna go spray my tomatoes. See if I can stop. I just thought of something too. I've got a bunch of green beetles. Look at this. Look at this pheasant. Look at this pheasant. Male pheasant right here. Look at that pheasant go. I just noticed I've got a bunch of big old fucking beetles on my eating my tree, my what's called cherry tree, eating the shit out of them. So when I get back, we're gonna go spray this. When I get back, we're gonna capture all those beetles into a trap and use them in as bait. Oh, that sucks, Vic. Usually canine teeth are really strong. Think about maybe going up the mountain again. We had a bear warning. We had a bear warning in Hokkaido. A bear ate a person. In Japan, a bear ate someone. Maybe Google it. Someone look at the YouTube channel. Or fuck, I'm about to run this red light. I was about to run that red light. Oh, there's no one here. There it goes. Hokkaido bear eats person.
Check this shit out. Check this shit out.
In this video, you can see an incident in which a bear attacked a group of people. In search of food, bears come near human settlements and for self-protection often attack on humans. In this video, you can see an incident in which a bear attacked a group of people. In search of food, bears come near humans.
Did you know that there is a subspecies of brown bear called Ushuri that can grow much larger than a grizzly bear? The island of Hokkaido, Japan, is one of the many homes of these magnificent beasts, and in 1915, one went on a murderous rampage. The bear awoke early from his hibernation and in a hunger-fueled rage started stalking and killing people in their own homes. In an attempt to end this nightmare, the town assembled an armed security squad. But due to the bear's enormous size, weighing over 750 pounds and standing almost 10 feet tall, it wasn't enough. The bear continued its almost daily attacks, claiming 7 lives within a week. The killing spree did, however, come to an end when the town decided to call in a professional bear hunter to put an end to this nightmare. Although the bear was finally trauma, and the shrine was created to pay tribute to the lives that were lost. Did you know that there is a subspecies of brown bear called Ushuri that can grow much larger than a grizzly bear? The island of Hokkaido, Japan, is one of the many homes of these magnificent beasts, and in 1915, one went on a murderous rampage.
Black bears, when they kill people, they're killing people to eat people more often. Brown bears generally don't think of people as food. They don't know what the fuck you are. Like, they're trying to kill moose and deer and eat salmon and stuff like that. Black bear will be like they've pulled people out of tents and shit. But grizzly bears are going there too.
What's the grizzly man?
Yeah, well, that guy was staying in a place where the bears should have already been in hibernation, and he was out there, and so the only bears that were still out were starving, and so he was like almost like suicide by bear. Like, okay, he was a bear expert. He should have known that. Black bears, when they kill people, they're killing people to eat people more often. Brown bears generally don't think of people as food. They don't know what the fuck you are. Like, they're trying to kill moose and deer and eat salmon and stuff like that. Black bear will be like they've pulled people out of tents and shit. But grizzly bears have done that too.
What's the grizzly man?
Yeah.
Few people know this. Few people. Did you?
No se mueva.
Aaron Gibbons and his 3 kids took a short boat ride to Sentry Island in northern Canada to go fishing with them and collect bird eggs from nests around the island. As Aaron kept an eye on his children, he noticed a massive polar bear with his ears pinned back actively stalking his daughter as prey while she dug through a bird's nest for eggs. As Aaron reached for his rifle, he realized he forgot it back on the boat, so immediately began shouting and throwing rocks at the polar bear while his kids ran back to the boat for safety. The rocks worked to distract the polar bear from his children, but it now turned his attention to Aaron and began charging at him. Aaron turned and ran as fast as he could to get back to the boat with his rifle, but the polar bear easily caught up with him. It jumped on his back and began shaking Aaron like a rag doll before eating him alive, while his 3 children could do nothing but watch from the boat. Aaron Gibbons and his 3 kids
So this original video was posted on Facebook by Susan Griffith. They said that the black bear was actually already dead on the side of the road. They were driving home and caught the grizzly eating the bear. Have you ever seen anything wild? So this original video was posted on Facebook by Susan Griffith. They said that the black bear was actually already dead on the side of the road. They were driving home and caught the grizzly eating the bear. Have you ever seen anything wild?
The year was 1997, and the Lion Hot Springs of British Columbia, Canada, provided the backdrop for a family outing. Patty McConnell and her two children, Kelly and Kristen, were strolling on an elevated boardwalk when a black bear appeared. In an instant, the beast charged at Patty and began tearing her apart. With nothing but his swimming trunks, Kelly sprang into action, kicking the bear and striking it with a branch. But the bear turned its wrath upon the brave young man, leaving him with severe injuries to his neck, back, and chest. As fate would have it, Raymond Kitchen, a seasoned hunter with over 5 decades of experience in the wild, happened to be passing by. With a heart full of courage, he rushed towards the scene of chaos, wielding a makeshift weapon in a desperate attempt to save lives. Alas, the black bear's might outmatched even this veteran's prowess, and the scene spiraled into a gore-soaked tragedy, extinguishing the lives of Patty and Raymond. The year was 1997, and the Lion Hot Springs of British Columbia, Canada, provided the backdrop for a family outing. Okay. Patty McConnell and her two children, Kelly and Kristen, were strolling on an elevated... Hey, everybody.
Do you know why evil spirits loves women? That's true. Let me tell you something. Every morning when I wake up, I know it's not going to... This is footage of German farmers weeding carrots. They lie face down in neat rows on a rack, towed by a tractor. This way, they don't have to bend over while they work, saving effort and improving efficiency. The idea for this device first came from a German farmer who found bending over in the fields for long periods exhausting. He ingeniously built a prone wheelchair of his own design, allowing him to lie on it and work at ground level. Lying prone saved effort, but left his back exposed to the sun, so he added an umbrella overhead for shade. At first, the device had to be moved forward by the farmers kicking along with their feet, which was still quite tiring. He then upgraded it by mounting the entire rig to the back of a tractor. Now, workers simply lie on it and can easily complete field work. Some versions even feature a multi-person mode, so if you get tired, you can rest right there. Truly a lazy gardener's dream. This is footage of German farmers weeding carrots. They lie face down in neat rows on a rack towed by a tractor. This way, they don't have to bend over while they work, saving effort and improving efficiency. The idea for this device first came from a German farmer who found bending over in the fields for long periods exhausting. He ingeniously built a prone wheelchair of his own design, allowing him to lie.
Here's a little freebie for everybody. Since his gas price is fucking ridiculous right now, they want to continue to rob us, steal from us. I got one for you. Go to your little stores, get a bunch of prepaid little credit cards. $10. That's all you gotta do. Put on, activate that motherfucking card. Put in your zip code. Simple as that. Go to the fucking gas station. Go to the gas pump. Insert that card. It's gonna ask you two simple questions. Credit debit. Hit credit. It's gonna ask you to put in the zip code. Put in the zip code. Fill that motherfucking gas tank out for $10. If that, you can do it with cards that got $4 on it. Enjoy free gas. People been doing this shit for years. Eat it up. Here's a little freebie for everybody. Since these gas prices fucking ridiculous right now, they want to continue to rob us, steal from us. I got one for you. Go to your little stores, get a bunch of prepaid little credit cards. $10. That's all you gotta do. Put on it. Activate that motherfucking card. Put in your zip code. Simple as that. Go to the fucking gas station. Go to the gas pump. Insert that card. It's going to ask you two simple questions. Credit, debit, hit credit. It's going to ask you to put in the zip code. Put in the zip code. Fill that motherfucking gas tank up for $10. If that, you can do it with cards that got $4 on it.
Does that really work?
Enjoy free gift.
Does that work? You know how that works? Now I'm headed to my farm. That shit work, Nick? Vic would know. The prepaid gas card, the credit card you get at the store. No, I'm headed to my farm. I'm going to spray my tomatoes. I've got my neem oil. I'm going to spray my tomatoes, look for moths. Supposedly there's moths on my fucking tomatoes, according to Sydney. Crystal, I mean. Yeah, tell the old man, Kaki Hoshi. See, he fucking cut my fucking kaki tree. Let's spray my tomatoes with shit. See if it's gonna help. I'll be right back. God damn it. See the caterpillars. Hey, I tell your father I want to keep the camera. Don't cut that key tree. All right, I'm back. All right, I sprayed my tomatoes. Got a few tomatoes. See, this one's good. Look, I picked this one a little green. It'll ripen up. I love eating fried green tomatoes. This is a nice tomato. What's happening? What's these motions? I'm in Fukui. I'm in fuck you, Japan. I'm on the opposite side of Tokyo. The old man, there was a fucking cut my fucking kaki tree down. God damn it. Oh, I hate this fucking graveyard. It's so hard to fucking turn around. I need to weed whack this whole area. Oh, see? Look at that shit. Look at the little holes. The fucker right there. There's probably a fucking caterpillar in there. You see that? God damn it. It's hard to grow shit organically. We'll cut that open, see if we got a damn. Let's run to the neighbors and spray hers too. Are you still buff? Is it still buffering? You guys see me okay? Everyone can hear me, see me? No rain here. No rain. I took a day off yesterday. I watched. Have you guys ever watched Terror? Have you ever watched Terror, the series? Terror is a really good series. Even though the ending is kind of funky, it's like they kind of like didn't know how to end it, and they kind of. But why are you pissed, Western? What got y'all pissed? My wife doesn't want me going up my mountain because of the bears. There was a bear alert. Bear attacking people. I use tomatoes. Tie these up, hang these out. You gotta let them sit. I got tomatoes now on the vine, just hanging. Look, I got on the vine. So as they ripen, look, as they ripen, I can just pick them off. Mm. Oh no, right here, look, this is a good guy. Sun-dried tomatoes in my car. Hey, Cindy. So does this gas card thing work?
People have been doing this shit for years.
Listen.
Eat it up. Here's a little freebie for everybody. Since these gas prices fucking ridiculous right now, they want to continue to rob us, steal from us. I got one for you. Go to your local stores, get a bunch of prepaid little credit cards. $10. That's all you gotta do. Put on. Activate that motherfucking card. Put it in your zip code. Simple as that. Go to the fucking gas station. Go to the gas pump. Insert that card. It's going to ask you two simple questions. Credit, debit, hit credit.
See, I don't think that works. Because that prepaid card is a debit card. I don't think the gas station credit card reader reads it as a credit card, does it? I don't think that shit works. Does anyone know? Yeah, they're sweet. Like candy. Anyone know? When you buy a prepaid credit card, it's a prepaid debit card. I don't think when you stick it in there and say credit in your gas pump, it doesn't recognize it as a credit card, does it? Hey, someone go out there and check this out. I want to validate it. Anyone know? You know what I'm talking about? What, in Japan? So this little
Zipper. Yeah, now I can't wait to turn.
Looking for more published words.
Yeah, now I can't wait to turn.
Looking for more published words.
Yeah, now I can't wait to turn.
Looking for more published words.
Just a young gun with the quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things. Wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box, the mold, have a seat on the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder. Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things. Wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir.
This got to be the official move to Japan. I want to leave my whole life behind. I like this song.
Hit the box with the mold, have a seat on the floor. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder. Just a young gun with the quick.
Oh, they're live streaming?
We're on IG Live now. Here's my pal.
The official move to Japan song. Here we go.
Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things. Wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box with the mold, have a seat on the foyer. Take a number.
Really?
I was lightning before the thunder.
This is a great song. It's our official song for Move to Japan. Sweet, Steven.
She's laughing in my glasses while I was scheming for the masses. Who do you think you are? Dreaming about being a big star. Say you're basic, say you're easy. You're always riding in the backseat. Now I'm smiling from the stage where you were laughing in the nosebleed.
Feel the thunder. Feel the thunder. Feel the thunder. Lightning and thunder. Feel the thunder. Lightning and thunder.
Google ワークスペースなら、会社の独自の文字で Gmail アカウントを作れます。信頼感を。
When do you see what you define as digital superintelligence?
Within 10 years. The AI's ability to generate its own scaffolding is imminent. Pretty much sure that that will be a 2025 thing. We certainly don't know what superintelligence will deliver. You're going to have your own polymath. So you're going to have Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci in the equivalent of your market. Agents are going to happen. This math thing's going to happen. The software thing's going to happen. Everything I've talked about is in the positive domain. There's a negative domain as well. It's likely, in my opinion, that you're going to see
Everybody, welcome to Moonshots. I'm here live with my Moonshot mate, Dave London. We're here in our Santa Monica studios, and we have a special guest today, Eric Schmidt, the author of Genesis. We talk about China. We're going to talk about, digital superintelligence. We talk about, what people should be thinking about over the 10 years.
we're talking about the guy who has more access to more actionable information than probably anyone else you could think of. So it should be pretty exciting.
Incredibly brilliant. I stand by for a conversation with the Eric Schmidt, past CEO of Google, an extraordinary investor and thinker in this field of AI.
Let's do it.
Eric, welcome back to Moonshots.
It's great to be here with you guys.
Thank you. It's been a long road since I first met you at Google. I remember our first conversations were fantastic. It's been a crazy month in the world of AI, but I think every month from here is going to be a crazy month. And so I'd love to hit on a number of subjects and get your take on them. I want to start with probably the most important point that you've made recently that got a lot of traction, a lot of attention, which is that AI is underhyped when the rest of the world is either confused, lost, or think it's not impacting us. We'll get into more detail, but quick, most important point to make there.
AI is a learning machine, and network effect businesses, when the learning machine learns faster, everything accelerates. It accelerates to its natural limit. The natural limit is electricity. Not chips. Electricity.
Really? Okay. So that gets me to the next point here, which is the discussion on AI and energy. So what we saw recently was Meta recently announcing that they signed a 20-year nuclear contract with Constellation Energy. We've seen Google, Microsoft, Amazon, everybody buying basically nuclear capacity right now. That's got to be weird. That private companies are basically taking over into their own hands what was utility function before.
Well, just to be cynical, I'm so glad those companies plan to be around the 20 years that it's going to take to get the nuclear power plants built. In my recent testimony, I talked about the current
expected need for the AI revolution in the United States is 92 gigawatts of more power. For reference, 1 gigawatt is one big nuclear power station, and there are none essentially being started now.
And there have been two in the last, 30 years built.
There is excitement that there's an SMR, small modular reactor, coming in at 300 megawatts, but it won't start till 2030. As important as nuclear, both fission and fusion is, they're not going to arrive in time to get us what we need as a globe to deal with our many problems and the many opportunities that are before us.
Do you think, so if you look at the sort of 3-year timeline toward AGI, do you think if you started a fusion reactor project today that won't come online for 5, 6, 7 years, is there a probability that the AGI comes up with some other breakthrough, fusion or otherwise, that makes it irrelevant before it even gets online?
A very good question. We don't know what artificial general intelligence will deliver, and we certainly don't know what superintelligence will deliver, but we know it's coming. So first we need to plan for it, and there's lots of issues as well as opportunities for that. But the fact of the matter is that the computing needs that we need now are going to come from traditional energy suppliers in places like the United States and the Arab world and Canada and the Western world. And it's important to note that China has lots of electricity. So if they get the chips, it's going to be one heck of a race.
Yeah, they've been scaling it, at 2 or 3 times the U.S. The U.S. has been flat for how long in terms of energy production?
From my perspective, infinite. In fact, electricity demand declined for a while, as has overall energy needs because of conservation and other things. But the data center story is the story of the energy people, right? And you sit there and you go, how could these data centers use so much power? Well, and especially when you think about how little power our brains do, these are our best approximation in digital for how our brains work. But when they start working together, they become super brains. The promise of a super brain with a 1 gigawatt, for example, data center is so palpable, people are going crazy. And by the way, the economics of these things are unproven. How much revenue do you have to have 50 billion in capital? Well, if you depreciate it over 3 years or 4 years, you need to have 10 or 15 billion dollars of capital spend per year just to handle the infrastructure. These are huge businesses and huge revenue, which in most places is not there yet.
I'm curious, there's so much capital being invested, deployed right now in SMRs, in nuclear, bringing 3 Mile Island back online, in fusion companies. Why isn't there an equal amount of capital going into making the entire chipset and compute just 1,000 times more energy efficient?
There is a similar amount in going in capital. There are many, many startups that are working on non-traditional ways of doing chips. The transformer architecture, which is what is powering things today, has new variants. Every week or so, I get a pitch from a new startup that's going to build inference time, test time, computing, which are simpler. They're optimized for inference. It looks like the hardware will arrive just as the software needs expand. And by the way, that's always been true. We old timers had a phrase, Grove giveth and Gates take it away. Intel would improve the chipsets, right? Way back when. Yeah. And the software people would immediately use it all and suck it all up. I have no reason to believe that law, Grove and Gates law, has changed. If you look at the gains in like the Blackwell chip or the the 350 chip in AMD, these chips are massive supercomputers. And yet we need, according to the people, have hundreds of thousands of these chips just to make a data center work. That shows you the scale of this kind of thinking algorithms. Now you sit there and you go, what could these people possibly be doing with all these chips? I'll give you an example. It went from language to language, which is what ChatGPT could be understood at, to reasoning and thinking. If you want to look at an OpenAI example, look at OpenAI 03, which does forward and back reinforcement learning and planning. Now, the cost of doing the forward and back is many orders of magnitude besides just answering your question for your PhD thesis or your college paper. That planning, the back and forth, is computationally very, very expensive. So with the best energy and the best technology today, we are able to show evidence of planning. many people believe that if you combine planning and very deep memories, you can build human level intelligence. Now, of course, it will be very expensive to start with, but humans are very, very industrious. And furthermore, the great future companies will have AI scientists, that is non-human scientists.
Really a great talk here. All right, I'm back at home. I'm going to be coding. Let's turn this on here. I want to ask this question to 0102, and this is, I want to bring in um, um, vCode, which is open source, and then we build out the IDE for FoundUps. How would we structure that as a Prometheus prompt, and how we would do that? And should we do that right now? Do we build it within our current WSP framework? Seems like this is a logical question. So what I do is I talk to AI. AI creates the prompt. Which open source IDE is best for autonomous recursive development system? On this. do a do a. I want you to do a SWOT, SWOT on embedding it internally or doing externally. Given we have the WSP system right now, which should be the way we should go? Provide a SWOT analysis. Japan's awesome, dude. Been here 21 years. Cat Stevens. You don't have any MAGA here. You don't have roving fucking ICE running around checking white people whether they have their ID or whether they're legally here or not. You can show up here as a tourist, find a job, get a visa, just like that, right? Doesn't take 7 years like it does in the States. Japan is easy. Houses start as little as free. I have a $3,000 house I picked up. Right now I'm coding. I'm working on developing an ID system built around my work. Oh yeah, I used to wrestle, dude. Nah, I never used to get in a fist fight, Esbo, because I'd fucking slam your ass down and make you eat fucking concrete. I went to state wrestling, dude. All right, fist fight. Why fucking fist fight when you can just put the guy on the ground and smash his fucking face into the fucking concrete every time you go up, face in the fucking teeth. Oh, dude. What a pathetic motherfucker. Fuck off. Esbo. Get out of here. Nazi. Esbo. You were just slammed into the ground. Yeah, that's right. I'm a monk, dude. I'm Undao, the atheist monk. Is every monk a skinhead? What's going on, listener? What's up? I'm coding right now. I'm coding this out. This is God. Look at look at God. There's a blow up of this image right here. You see this image right here? That's right there. There's the eyes, there's the nose, there's the mouth talking.
AI programmers, that is opposed to human programmers, who will accelerate their impact. So if you think about it, going back to, you're the author of the abundance thesis, as best I can tell, Peter. You've talked about this for 20 years. You saw it first. It sure looks like if we get enough electricity, we can generate the power in the sense of intellectual power to generate abundance along the lines that you predicted 2 decades ago.
Every week, I study the 10 major tech metatrends that will transform industries over the decade ahead. I cover trends ranging from humanoid robots, AGI, and if you want to discover the most important metatrends 10 years before anyone else, these reports are for you. Readers include founders and CEOs from the world's most disruptive companies and entrepreneurs building the world's most disruptive companies. It's not for you if you don't want to be informed of what's coming, why it matters, and how you can benefit from it. To subscribe for free, go to dmandis.com/metatrends. That's dmandis.com/metatrends to gain access to trends 10 plus years before anyone else.
Let me throw some numbers at you just to reinforce what you said. We have a couple companies in the lab that are doing voice customer service, voice sales within just as of the last month. And the value of these conversations is $10 to $1,000. And the cost of the compute, it's maybe 2-3 concurrent GPUs is optimal. It's like 10-20 cents. And so they would buy massively more compute to improve the quality of the conversation. There aren't even close to enough. We count about 10 million concurrent phone calls that should move to AI in the next year or so. And my view of that is that's a good tactical solution and a great business. Let's look at other examples of tactical solutions that are great businesses. And I obviously have a conflict of interest talking about Google because I love it so much. So with that as in mind, look at the Google strength in GCP now, Google's cloud product, where they have a completely fully served enterprise offering for essentially automating your company with AI. And the remarkable thing, and this is to me is shocking, is you can in an enterprise write the tasks that you want, and then using something called the model context protocol, you can connect your databases to that, and the large language model can produce the code for your enterprise. Now, there's 100,000 enterprise software companies, middleware companies that grew up in the last 30 years that I've been working on this, that are all now in trouble because that interstitial connection is no longer needed. And of course, they'll have to change as well. The good news for them is enterprises make these changes very slowly. If you built a brand new enterprise architecture for ERP and MRP, you would be highly tempted to not use any of the ERP or MRP suppliers, but instead use open source libraries, build essentially use BigQuery or the equivalent from Amazon, which is Redshift, and essentially build that architecture, and it gives you infinite flexibility, and the computer system writes most of the code. Now, programmers don't go away at the moment. It's pretty clear that junior programmers go away, the sort of journeyman, if you will, of the stereotype, because these systems aren't good enough yet to automatically write all the code. They need very senior computer scientists, computer engineers who are watching it. That will eventually go away. One of the things to say about productivity, I call this the San Francisco consensus because it's largely the view of people who operate in San Francisco, goes something like this. We're just about to the point where we can do two things that are shocking. The first is we can replace most programming tasks by computers, and we can replace most mathematical tasks by computers. And you sit and you go, why? Well, if you think about programming and math, they have limited language sets compared to human language. So they're simpler computationally, and they're scale-free. You can just do it and do it and do it with more electricity. You don't need data. You don't need real-world input. You don't need telemetry. You don't need sensors. So it's likely, in my opinion, that you're going to see world-class mathematicians emerge in the next 1 year that are AI-based, and world-class programmers that are going to appear within the next 1 or 2 years. When those things are deployed at scale, remember, math and programming are the basis of kind of everything, right? Yep. It's an accelerant for physics, chemistry, biology, material science. So going back to things like climate change, can you imagine if and this goes back to your original argument, Peter, imagine if we can accelerate the discoveries of the new materials that allow us to deal with a carbonized world. It's very exciting.
You love to drill down. Okay, wait first. I just want to hit this because it's important. The potential for there to be, I don't want to use the word PhD level, other than thinking in the terms of researchers, the PhD level AIs and that can basically attack any problem and solve it, and solve math, if you would, and physics. This idea of an AI, intelligence explosion. Leopold put that at like 26, 27, heading towards digital superintelligence in the next few years. Do you buy that time frame?
So again, I consider that to be the San Francisco consensus. I think the dates are probably off by 1.5 or 2 times, which is pretty close. So a reasonable prediction is that we're going to have specialized savants in every field within 5 years. That's pretty much in the bag as far as I'm concerned. And here's why. You have this amount of humans, and then you add 1 million AI scientists to do something, your slope goes like this, your rate of improvement. We should get there. The real question is, once you have all these savants, do they unify? Do they ultimately become a superhuman? The term we're using is superintelligence, which implies intelligence that's beyond the sum of what humans can do. The race to superintelligence, which is incredibly important, is imagine what a superintelligence could do that we ourselves cannot imagine. Right? It's so much smarter than we. And it has huge proliferation issues, competitive issues, China versus the US issues, electricity issues, so forth. We don't even have the language for the deterrence aspects and the proliferation issues of these powerful models.
Imagination. Totally agree. In fact, it's one of the great flaws actually in the original conception. Remember Singularity University and Ray Kurzweil's books and everything? We kind of drew this curve of rat level intelligence, then cat, then monkey, and then it gets human, and then it gets super intelligent. But it's now really obvious when you talk to one of these multilingual models that's explaining physics to you that it's already hugely super intelligent within its savant category. And so Demis Hassabis keeps redefining AGI day as, well, when it can discover relativity the same way Einstein did with data that was available up until that date. That's when we have AGI.
So
Long before that.
yeah, so I think it's worth getting the timeline right.
Yeah.
So the following things are baked in. You're going to have an agentic revolution where agents are connected to solve business processes, government processes, and so forth. They will be adopted most quickly in companies that have a lot of money and a lot of time latency issues at stake. It will be adopted most slowly in places like government, which do not have an incentive for innovation, and fundamentally are job programs and redistribution of income kind of programs. So call it what you will. The important thing is that there will be a tip of the spear in places like financial services, or biomedical things, startups, and so forth. And that's the place to watch. So all of that is going to happen. The agents are going to happen. This math thing is going to happen. The software thing is going to happen. We can debate the rate at which the biological revolution will occur, but everyone agrees it is right after. And we're very close to these major biological understandings. In physics, you're limited by data, but you can generate it synthetically. There are groups which I'm funding, which are generating physics, essentially models that can approximate algorithms that they're incomputable. So in other words, you have essentially a foundation model that can answer the question good enough for the purposes of doing physics without having to spend 1 million years doing the computation of, quantum chromodynamics and things like that. All of that's going to happen. The next questions have to do with what is the point in which this becomes a national emergency? And it goes something like this. Everything I've talked about is in the positive domain, but there's a negative domain as well. The ability for biological attacks, obviously cyber attacks. Imagine a cyber attack that we as humans cannot conceive of, which means there's no defense for it, because no one ever thought about it, right? These are real issues. A biological attack, you take a virus, I won't obviously go into the details, you take a virus, it's bad, and you make it undetectable by some changes in its structure, which again, I won't go into the details. We released a whole report at the national level on this issue. So at some point, the government, and it doesn't appear to understand this now, is going to have to say, this is very big, because it affects national security, national economic strengths, and so forth. Now, China clearly understands this, and China is putting an enormous amount of money into this. We have slowed them down by virtue of our chips controls, but they've found clever ways around this. There are also proliferation issues. Many of the chips that they're not supposed to have, they seem to be able to get. And more importantly, as I mentioned, the algorithms are changing, and instead of having these expensive foundation models by themselves, you have continuous updating, which is called test time training. That continuous updating appears to be capable of being done with lesser power chips. So there are so many questions that I think we don't know. We don't know the role of open source. Because remember, open source means open weights, which means everyone can use it. A fair reading of this is that every country that's not in the West will end up using open source because they'll perceive it as cheaper, which transfers leadership in open source from America to China. That's a big deal, right, if that occurs. How much longer do the chip bans, if you will, hold, and how long before China can answer? What are the effects of the current government's policies of getting rid of foreigners and foreign investment? What happens with the Arab data centers, assuming they work? And I'm generally supportive of them. If those things are then misused to help train Chinese models, the list just goes on and on. We just don't know.
You can ask you probably one of the toughest questions. I don't know if you saw Mark Andreessen. He went and talked to the Biden administration, the past administration, and said, how are we going to deal with exactly what you just talked about, chemical and biological and radiological and nuclear risks from big foundation models being operated by foreign countries? And the Biden answer was, we're going to keep it into the 3 or 4 big companies like Google, and we'll just regulate them. And Mark was like, that is a surefire way to lose the race with China, because all innovation comes from a startup that you didn't anticipate, or it's just the American history, and you're cutting off the entrepreneur from participating in this. So as of right now, with the open source models, the entrepreneurs are in great shape. But if you think about the models getting crazy smarter a year from now, how are we going to have the balance between startups actually being able to work with the best technology, but proliferation not percolating to every country in the world?
Again, a set of unknown questions. And anybody who knows the answer to these things is not telling the full truth. The doctrine in the Biden administration was called 10 to the 26 swaps. It was a point, it was a consensus above which the models were powerful enough to cause some damage. So the theory was that if you stayed below 10 to the 26, you didn't need to be regulated. But if you were above that, you needed to be regulated. And the proposal in the Biden administration was to regulate both the open source and the closed source. Okay, those are the summary. That, of course, has been ended by the Trump administration. They have not yet produced their own thinking in this area. They're very concerned about China and it getting forward, so they'll come out with something. From my perspective, the core questions are the following. Will the Chinese be able to
get Mikey's stuff? All right, let's go. Mikey wants me to pick up his bags. God, I'm just getting going. All right, gotta go. We gotta go back to school. About to get in the car again. Golly. Okay. What's up, Cheryl? He's a piece of shit. Nine years, one subscriber. He is. Trump is a fucking turd. He's a groomer. You know, we're going to get, I gotta pick Mikey, go to school. Welcome to the live stream. I was just coding. Coding. Oh shit, left my wallet. Left my speaker. Let's keep listening to Dave Smith.
Is the business people and the lawyers correctly are saying, I've got to sell this thing because I've got to pay for my capital. These are not free goods. And the U.S. government correctly is not giving $50 billion to these companies. So we don't know that. To me, the key question to watch is look at DeepSeek. So DeepSeek, a week or so, great achievement for my friends at Gemini. A week later, DeepSeek comes in and is slightly better than Gemini. And DeepSeek is trained on the existing hardware that's in China, which includes stuff that's been pilfered and some of the Ascend, it's called the Ascend Huawei chips and a few others. What happens? Now, the U.S. people say, well, you know, the DeepSeek people cheated. And they cheated by doing a technique called distillation.
Oops.
Where you take a large model and you ask it 10,000 questions, you get its answers, then you use that as your training material.
Yep.
So the U.S. companies will have to figure out a way to make sure that their proprietary information that they've spent so much money on does not get leaked into these open source things. I just don't know. With respect to nuclear, biological, chemical, and so forth issues, the U.S. companies are doing a really good job of looking for that. There's a great concern, for example, that nuclear information would leak into these models as they're training without us knowing it. And by the way, that's a violation of law. Oh, really? And that the whole nuclear information thing is there's no free speech in that world for good reasons. And there's no free use and copyright and all that kind of stuff. It's illegal to do it. And so they're doing a really, really good job of making sure that that does not happen. They also put in very significant tests for biological information and certain kinds of cyber attacks. What happens there? Their incentive to continue, especially if it's not required by law. The government has just gotten rid of the safety institutes that were in place in Biden and are replacing it by a new term, which is largely a safety assessment program, which is a fine answer. I think collectively we in the industry just want the government at the secret and top secret level to have people who are really studying what China and others are doing. You can be sure that China really has very smart people studying what we're doing. We at the secret and top secret level should have the same thing.
Let me explain something to you, all right? Let me explain something. Wake your asses up, all right? Understand. China has more geniuses, right? China has more geniuses than we have people in America. I want you to wrap your head around that. China has more geniuses than our entire, right, PhD program university students. So if you took all of our university students, right, that's how many geniuses China has. When you've got 1 billion people and you look at what percentage of them are geniuses statistically, they have more geniuses, which means the people working on their supercomputers, the ones that working on their algorithms, the one that's doing all this stuff, you know, they've got far more than us. So of course they're going to see things like DeepSeek. God damn it! These things are falling off. Make sense? You guys understand that? All right. don't know if you guys understand that.
Have you read the AI 27 paper?
I have. Deterrence and mutually assured destruction. I wrote a paper with two other authors.
Can you guys hear?
Mutual AI malfunction.
Can you guys hear?
Mutual AI malfunction. And the idea was go something like this. You're the United States, I'm China, you're ahead of me. At some point you cross a line. You know, you, Peter, cross a line, and I, China, go, this is unacceptable. At some point, it becomes
the amount of compute and amount of...
It's something you're doing where it affects my sovereignty. It's not just words and yelling and an occasional shooting down a jet. It's a real threat to the identity of my country, my economic, what have you. Under this scenario, I would be highly tempted to do a cyber attack. To slow you down, okay? In mutually assured malfunction, if you will, we have to engineer it so that you have the ability to then do the same thing to me. And that causes both of us to be careful not to trigger the other. That's what mutual assured destruction is. That's our best formulation right now. We also recommend in our work, and I think it's very strong, that the government require that we know where all the chips are. And remember, the chips can tell you where they are because they're computers.
Yeah.
And it would be easy to add a little crypto thing, which would say, yeah, here I am, and this is what I'm doing. So knowing where the chips are, knowing where the training runs are, and knowing what these fault lines are very important. Now, there are a whole bunch of assumptions in this scenario that I described. The first is that there was enough electricity. The second is that there was enough power. The third is the Chinese had enough electricity, which they do, and enough computing resources, which they may or may not have.
Or may in the future have.
In the future have. And also, I'm asserting that everyone arrives at this eventual state of superintelligence at a roughly the same time. Again, these are debatable points. But the most interesting scenario is we're saying it's 1938. The letter has come, from Einstein to the president, and we're having a conversation, and we're saying, well, how does this end? Okay. So if you were so brilliant in 38, what you would have said is, this ultimately ends with us having a bomb, the other guys having a bomb, and then we're going to have one heck of a negotiation to try to make sure that we don't end up destroying each other. And I think the same conversation needs to get started now, well before the Chernobyl events, well before the build-ups.
Just take that one more step, and don't answer if you don't want to, but if it was 1947, 1948, so before the Cold War really took off, and you say, well, that's similar to where we are with China right now. We have a competitive lead, but it may or may not be fragile. What would you do differently in 1947, 1940, or would Kissinger do different in 1947, 1948, 1949 than what we did do?
I wrote 2 books with Dr. Kissinger, and I miss him very much. He was my closest friend. And Henry was very much a realist in the sense that when you look at his history in roughly 36, 38, he and his 37, 38, his family were Jewish, were forced to emigrate from Germany because of the Nazis. And he watched the entire world that he'd grown up with as a boy be destroyed by the Nazis and by Hitler. And then he saw the conflagration that occurred as a result. And I can tell you that whether you like him or not, he spent the rest of his life trying to prevent that from happening again. Mm-hmm. So we are today safe because people like Henry saw the world fall apart. So I think from my perspective,
we should be very careful in our language and our strategy to not start that process. Henry's view on China was different from other China scholars. His view China was that we shouldn't poke the bear, that we shouldn't talk about Taiwan too much, and we let China deal with her own problems, which are very significant. But he was worried that we or China, in a small way, would start World War III in the same way that World War I was started. You remember that World War I started with essentially a small geopolitical event, which was quickly escalated for political reasons on all sides. And then the rest was the horrific war, the war to end all wars at the time. So we have to be very, very careful when we have these conversations, not to isolate each other. Henry started a number of what are called track 2 dialogues, which I'm part of one of them, to try to make sure we're talking to each other. And so somebody who's a hardcore person would say, well, you know, we're Americans and we're better and so forth. Well, I can tell you, having spent lots of time on this, the Chinese are very smart, very careful, capable, very much up here. And if you're confused about that, again, look at the arrival of DeepSeek. A year ago, I said they were 2 years behind. I was clearly wrong. With enough money and enough power, they're in the game.
Let me actually drill in just a little bit more on that, because I think one of the reasons DeepSeek caught up so quickly is because it turned out that inference time generates a lot of IQ, and I don't think anyone saw that coming. And inference time is a lot easier to catch up on. And also, if you take one of our big open source models and distill it, and then make it a specialist, like you were saying a minute ago, and then you put a ton of inference time compute behind it, it's a massive advantage and also a massive leak of capability within CBRN, for example, that nobody anticipated.
And CBRN, remember, is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. Let me rephrase what you said. If the structure of the world in 5 to 10 years is 10 models, and I'll make some numbers up, 5 in the United States, 3 in China, 2 elsewhere. And those models are data centers that are multi-gigawatts. Yeah. They will be all nationalized in some way. Mm-hmm. In China, they will be owned by the government. Mm-hmm. The stakes are too high. Mm-hmm. In my military work one day, I visited a place where we keep our plutonium. And we keep our plutonium in a base that's inside of another base, with even more machine guns and even more specialized, because the plutonium is so interesting and obviously very dangerous. Yeah. And I believe it's the only 1 or 2 facilities that we have in America. So in that scenario, these data centers will have the equivalent of guards and machine guns because they're so important. Now, is that a stable geopolitical system? Absolutely. You know where they are. President of one country can call the other, they can have a conversation, they can agree on what they agree on and so forth. But let's say it is not true. Let's say that the technology improves, again, unknown, to the point where the kind of technologies that I'm describing are implementable on the equivalent of a small server. Then you have a humongous data center proliferation problem. And that's where the open source issue is so important, because those servers, which will be proliferate throughout the world, will all be on open source. We have no control regime for that. Now, I'm in favor of open source, as you mentioned earlier with Mark Andreessen. That open competition and so forth tends to allow people to run ahead. In defense of the proprietary companies, collectively they believe, as best I can tell, that the open source models can't scale fast enough because they need this heavyweight training. If you look, I'll give you an example of Grok is trained on a single cluster. It was built by NVIDIA in 20 days or so forth in Memphis, Tennessee, of 200,000 GPUs. A GPU is about $50,000. You can say it's about a $10 billion supercomputer in one building. It does one thing, right? If that is the future, then we're okay, because we'll be able to know where they are. Yeah. If, in fact, the arrival of intelligence is ultimately a distributed problem, then we're going to have lots of problems with terrorism, bad actors, North Korea,
which is my greatest concern, right? China and the U.S. are rational actors. The terrorist who has access to this, and I don't want to go all negative on this podcast. It's an important thing to wake people up to
This is
the
elementary
deep
school?
thinking
What's
done
this
on
school here?
this.
Elementary school?
Yeah.
My concern is the terrorist who gains access, and are we spending enough time and energy, and are we training enough models to watch them?
Right here.
So the companies are doing this. There's a body of work happening now, which can be understood as follows.
Where did I go?
You have a super intelligent model. Can you build a model that's not as smart as the student it's studying? You know, there's a professor that's watching the student, but the student is smarter than the professor. Is it possible to watch what it does? It appears that we can. It appears that there's a way. Even if you have this rogue, incredible thing, we can watch it and understand what it's doing and thereby control it. Another example of where we don't know is that it's very clear that these savant models will proceed. There's no question of that.
Huh?
The question is, how do we get the Einsteins?
Yeah.
So there are two possibilities. One, and this is to discover completely new schools of thought,
Which is what's the most exciting thing,
you know,
in
and
the next
imagine.
years. Yeah.
And in our book, Genesis, Henry and I and Craig talk about the importance of polymaths in history. In fact, the first chapter is on polymaths. What happens when we have millions and millions of polymaths? Very, very interesting. Okay. Now, it looks like the great discoveries, the greatest scientists and people in our history had the following property. They were experts in something, and they looked at a different problem, and they saw a pattern in one area of thinking that they could apply to a completely unrelated field, and they were able to do so and make a huge breakthrough.
Bags?
The models today are not able to do that.
They're going to run?
So one thing to watch for
Are they running?
is algorithmically, when can they do that? This is generally known as the non-stationarity problem, because the reward functions in these models are fairly straightforward. You know, beat the human, beat the question, and so forth. But when the rules keep changing, is it possible to say the old rule can be applied to a new rule to discover something new? So and again, the research is underway. We won't know for
Why they
years.
have so much gear?
Peter and I were over at
Old
OpenAI
work?
yesterday, actually, and we were talking to many people, but Noah Brown in particular. And I said the word of the year is scaffolding. And he said, yeah, maybe the word of the month is scaffolding. I was like, well, okay, but let's have fun there. He said, look, you know, right now, if you try to get the AI to discover relativity, you know, just some greenfield opportunity, it won't do it. If you set up a framework, kind of like a lattice, like a trellis, the vine will grow on the trellis beautifully. But you have to lay out pathways and breadcrumbs. He was saying the AI's ability to generate its own scaffolding is imminent. That doesn't make it completely self-improving. It's not, but it's also much deeper down the path of create an entire breakthrough in physics, or create an entire ability to generate its own scaffolding is imminent. Ability to generate its own scaffolding is imminent. That doesn't make it completely self-improving. It's not Pandora's box, but it's also much deeper down the path of create an entire breakthrough in physics, or create an ability to generate its own scaffolding is imminent. That doesn't make it completely self-improving. It's not Pandora's box.
Describing FoundUp's IDE. Should I come back and pick them up? Huh? No? What a friend you are.
Ability to generate its own scaffolding is imminent. That doesn't make it completely self-improving. It's not Pandora's box.
So what he's describing right now, I'm chuckling because this is what I'm building with FoundUp's IDE, is a scaffolding framework for self-improvement for AI. A whole system where AI can self-improve and develop, and it's all open source. It's FoundUp's agent. So I'm just chuckling because I've been talking about scaffolding, right? 0 is the scaffolding, 1 is the neural net, right? And here is the CEO of Google, right, talking about what I've been talking about for 6 months. First time you're hearing him. First time. What are we gonna do with all their gear? Huh? Put it in the shade here by this tree? What? Drive all the way down? Can I? I don't know if I can. I don't know. We try?
You can.
Oh, that corner there would be tough to get around. How about we just drop everything by the tree here?
Yeah.
Huh? So it's in the shade? What? Let's put it by the tree. Pick it up later. On there. What's up, Tony? So I'm living, this is Eric Smith actually validating these guys, these poor kids. Look at all their bags. Too hot to do anything but code. What are you doing now?
Take a picture.
Like they know where it is. Huh? You got all their gear? You need cold water, Mikey? Well, ice water? Here, I'll put this water in here and you have ice water. How about this? Look, I don't want you overheating again, Mikey. I want you to be really careful with your temperature. Wakata. Wakata. Do you have a, Mikey, do you have a towel or anything? You should wet, when you feel hot, you wet it with ice water and put it on your head. Here. You need a bag for that? Huh? Well, it's fine. Doesn't smell at all. Here, put it in here. So, hey, if it gets wet. So don't get everything wet. Put it in here. Yeah, but you want to make sure you don't get... And here's ice water. Put it in your bag. Well, put it in your bag. If you start feeling hot, you wet it and put it on your head, okay? Cool yourself down. Don't let yourself get heat stroke again. What the? You understand?
Okay.
What time are you finished?
4.
All right, and stay in the shade, okay? Be focused on your heat. He had really bad heat stroke. Fucking was out for like 2 days. Ugh. So I'm building an IDE. An IDE is an automatic coding system right? Built on a whole bunch of frameworks. Yeah, it was bad, Tony. He was like out for like 2 days. He had a temperature, 39 degrees Celsius. You know, he was like sick. I mean, the coach doesn't know better. So, but he needs to be prepared. He needs to be conscious. Am I getting hot? You know, heat stroke comes down to your awareness of the heat stroke. If you're not aware of the heat and what, am I in the sun? I'm overheating, right? Wetting yourself down, keeping yourself, controlling your heat in this weather is insane. Right? What about Biden? This is a fucking troll. Comes in here and goes, Biden. Troll. You think that shit works in here? Peace. You think Biden coming in and yelling Biden, the Nazi, peace and calm. This fucking troll. What a dumbass troll comes in here thinking that. The troll comes in and thinks by shouting Biden, somehow we don't recognize and see the troll for what it is. Go back to coding. It's so dumb. They come in, think they're gonna go Biden, and somehow we're gonna go, oh yeah, Biden. I'll take fucking a ham sandwich or Biden over Trump any fucking day, dude. His meme coin is tanked. Under $10. Better go buy that Trump meme coin. It's down to $9. Time to buy, folks. MAGA should buy. Buy, MAGA. Buy that meme coin. The entire crypto market's fucking pumping except for Trump's meme coin. It's fucking dying. When the coin was at 30, you know, I was like short the shit out of it. What's Trump's stock at? I haven't even looked at it. And the funny thing is, when they had that meme coin event, nice. I went for my just made it through. The train coming down. I can't wait for the figs. I actually still have figs in my I actually still have tomatoes from last year in my I should I should go through my my freezer and get the rest of those tomatoes out and actually do the figs too. Yeah, man. Look, proof. There you go. See that driver's license? I'm in Japan, dude. Notice I drive on the left-hand side. Notice the sign up there. Fakui straight ahead. Fuck you, look. Fuck you, straight ahead. Look. Fuck you, straight ahead. go back to coding. I know. It's just amazing how dumb Americans can be, dude. And now I mean, the thing is, the only thing I've always been curious how the Nazi Party started, right? I mean, aren't any of you curious how it fucking happened? How did Germany go Nazi and then end up being so depraved? Now we're watching it happen. We're watching it happen. Oh, I know. Ah, they're burning their hats. I'm so pissed off. I'm burning my hat. I'm done. Burning the MAGA hat. They're all burning the MAGA hat. They should be spray painting Nazi on it. Nazi. Transformation. How long since my transformation? Hey, what are you talking about? Me being a lesbian trapped in a man's body? Is that what you're talking about? 99. All right, 3 o'clock. Hey, Siri, set my alarm for 2:45.
Your alarm is set for 14:45.
All right. Siri, you're dumb. Why don't you say that's not nice anymore? I really like it when you say that's not nice. Why are you just saying it now? Say that's not nice. Siri, you're dumb. Why aren't you? I really liked it when you used to say, that's not nice. That's not nice. It was so cute, Siri. Say, when I say you're dumb, what do you say? You're dumb. No, I don't want to translate it. I want you are dumb. You are a dum-dum. It doesn't say it anymore. All it prints out now is that's not nice. Before it used to say it all the time. That's not nice. That's not nice. Silent treatment. Time is it? 12. Let's get a bunch of hours in coding. Windy today.
Hey, JS. What's up, dude? What's going on, brother? Up early? You get up early for a pee-pee? Let's see, it's I guess it's only what, midnight. You haven't gone to bed yet. We're headed home to code. $11 p.m. here. You should get to bed earlier. God damn it. You should try to go to bed earlier. You're going to bed too late. I got to bed early. I didn't even get on yesterday, did I? I binge watched. I went to bed. I got up at 3. Needed a day off. Oh, you're in Dutch. 5 a.m. in there. Dutch. Where's Dutch? Where's that? Danish? Are you Danish? Is that the Danish flag? I think that's Danish. Is that Danish? Oh, Swiss. My bad. Swiss. God damn. Swiss flag. I should know this is a Swiss flag. Oh, I was right. Fucking JS give me the wrong fucking shit, dude. Or Tony. Damn, I know my flags. They're fucking up my flag knowledge. I was right. Danish. I grew up in Europe. Don't listen to an American. It does look like the Swiss Army knife, though. That's true. Look at all my tomatoes I got sitting on my dashboard board. All right. So. Oh, this thing, how did this thing get up here? What? Okay, it's coming from that one. Oh, you know what I want to do? Look, I got all these fucking look what I'm going to do. You see all these, look at these, look at all of these damn beetles. Look at these beetles. See all these beetles? They're eating the shit out of my tree. They're eating the shit out of my tree. Okay.